The Greg Kelly Show.
If you notice something off about Fox News, of course, you're not wrong. They're very conflicted over there, a little bit schizophrenic. They don't know who they are or what they're supposed to be. They're quite frankly lost without the late, great Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes was kind of the spiritual godfather of that place, the first CEO. He understood America. He understood broadcasting. He was a very good man, traditional values, actually, and it worked. It all worked. You know, most people in television, they're, vapid. They're just there for what they perceive to be prestige and money or whatever. I call them anchor heads. Actually, I got that from Rosanna. Rosanna Scotto. If there was ever like a lightweight guy who, some substitute anchor or whatever she didn't like, she'd call him an anchor head, meaning there's not much going on upstairs. And there are plenty of them out there, and, they're whatever. But so the place is full of anchor heads, and they're all pretending. And, of course, they're really freaked out by Trump. They never talk about January 6th. They're all over the place. Remember how they treated Tucker, by the way, when he had that amazing information about January 6th? And showing the cops, like escorting the horns guy around. It was just totally crazy. Well, it was too much to handle. Too much truth for that network, huh? It was too much truth for Chuck Schumer, who basically went to the Senate floor and demanded that Fox fire the guy. And what do you know? Fox did. If Chuck Schumer was ready to say that in public, what the hell was he doing in private? Well, Donald Trump just put out on Truth Social. And Truth Social, by the way, is a really good platform. You should download it if you can. You don't really need too many other ones, but what does he say here? This is just within the past hour. Nobody can ever trust Fox News, and I am one of them, with the weak and ineffective rhino Paul Ryan on its board of directors. He's a total lightweight, a failed and pathetic Speaker of the House, and a very disloyal person. Romney was bad, but Paul Ryan made him look worse. As a team, they never had a chance. Rupert and Lachlan, get that dog off your board. You don't need him. All you need is Trump. Make America great again. Ooh, Paul, the truth hurts, doesn't it? Man, oh man, oh man. And, I put this thing on. I wonder if I got this ball rolling, to be honest. I wonder if I got this ball rolling. I know that Trump watches my stuff, watches my accounts. On Instagram, I just felt like it this morning. Let's see, when was that? 2 hours ago? 2 hours ago, I just put out a big statement on Paul Ryan. And what did I say about Paul? Where the hell is it? Wait, what happened to it? There it is. So I put a picture of Paul Ryan up standing in front of his own portrait, which is so obnoxious, right? So pompous. And there are three of them on Capitol Hill. One for when he was chairman of the House and Ways and Means Committee, another one when he was the chairman of the Budget Committee, and another one for being the Speaker of the House. I'm sorry. If you're a dead president, okay, maybe you get a portrait. If you are a knight, somewhere, okay, you get a portrait. Maybe if you are the King of Sweden, they can make a painting of you. But if you're some guy from Wisconsin who's a congressman, you don't get a portrait. He's got three. They think they're princes. They think they're princes and kings. That's how they treat themselves. That's how they think of themselves. So I wrote, I can't stand ex-House Speaker Paul Ryan. Here he is on Capitol Hill showing off a painting of himself. Who the hell do these people think they are? The only people who should have, I said this a moment ago, who should have painted portraits are dead presidents and maybe the King of Sweden, not swamp guys like Paul. Made a fortune in public service, quote unquote. Also, Paul was one of those gym rats and went bananas with P90X. Should have been working for the people, not working his abs. And another thing, he lost a debate to Joe Biden. He lost a talking contest to Joe Biden. And this conservative, I put it in quotes, says he won't be voting for Trump. I hate vandalism, but I would not be upset if one of those crazy environmentalists threw some Campbell's soup on his silly painting. Hashtag tomato sauce. I gotta be careful, all right? If I tell anybody to throw paint on the painting, that would permanently damage, right? You see how I give myself a little way out? I don't like vandalism, but yeah, that's what you got to do. All right, wait, where's that guy who has a beef? Dennis, what's up? Where's the other screen? Oh, that screen? Oh, that screen stinks. All right, Kenny in Queens. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Craig. That catch was the basket catch by Willie Mays.
Yeah, we talked about that already.
I know. I just wanted to
get my name right when you call.
I'm sorry, Greg. The only guy who took that basket catch to the major leagues was Lee Mazzilli. He grew up watching Willie. All right, now here's the most important thing of all. Nobody is going after Communist China for sending that virus here 4 years ago. Nobody's going after race quotas. Look at
and nobody's going after anything. Just you, Kenny. Just you.
No,
what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? I mean, we got the Make America Great Again movement is going after all this corrupt stuff. All right? I mean, it's not it's not just you. You're not the only one noticing this stuff. I mean, nobody's doing this. Maybe they didn't come to find you. You know, they didn't come to visit you to brief you on everything they're doing, but they're doing a lot of stuff. There are some real I grumble about them, but there are some real heroes out there. From Jim Jordan to those house guys, Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA. There's some grassroots stuff going on. Multi-front war here.
Well, yes, but the thing is, can you tell me, because all these illegals coming in, they're being absorbed into this country, unfortunately. Can you tell me how Trump is going to get 10 million of them out of here? Are we going to ask them to leave? Why don't we hold the countries responsible who send them here? Hold them responsible.
All right. Do me a favor. Put that in an email and send it. All right. Would you do that for me? Thank you.
Greg, I'll do
Thank you. Thank you. Do that. All right. I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, some of these countries, yeah, they are emptying their prisons, but some of the countries are not. I mean, El Salvador. Who would have thought that El Salvador would be such an ally of America in all this stuff? But El Salvador is a free country, and people can walk the hell out of it. All right? They can, and they have. Have you seen that guy? He is an amazing leader down there, and he's throwing... I'm sorry, I hate to profile, but if you have a face tattoo... If you have a face tattoo or a neck tattoo and a face tattoo, 99 times out of 100, you are a bad dude, and we got to keep our eye on you. In the meantime, also, Donald Trump can't talk still about this crazy case. They want to keep that gag order in place. And one of the coolest things about WABC, the best people come by, including Alan Dershowitz, another guy who's fighting every day at great personal consequence. Okay? Alan Dershowitz on Katz and Cosby. Go ahead. Cut 8, please. Cut 8.
Forever, unless the Supreme Court reverses it. It's an outrageous decision, especially since, as we all predicted, the Democrats have now put tens of millions of dollars into an ad campaign saying that people shouldn't vote for Trump precisely because he was convicted in the New York court, and not giving Trump the opportunity to say, well, it was because the judge's daughter is working for Democrats. He can't say that. And he can't say because Cohen was a crooked witness, there are restrictions. And we're the victims of that. Because remember, the First Amendment has two sides. The obvious right of Donald Trump to speak, but our right to listen. And I'm a particularly affected person. I haven't decided who to vote for. I want to hear from Donald Trump. I have a First Amendment right to hear what he has to say about the judge's daughter, about Cohen, about other things that the gag order prohibits. And so, especially in light of the fact that the Democrats are now spending millions of dollars politicizing this invalid conviction.
God bless that man. I never thought of it that way. You have a right to speak under the First Amendment. We have a right to listen, too. What are we being deprived of? What are we being deprived of? Well, good for Alan Dershowitz. Hey, and the other thing that he said, which was kind of remarkable, I think it's part of his shtick, but for a long time, he's like, I'm a liberal Democrat. I voted for Hillary Clinton. I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. I think he's better for the country. He would always say that in a way to give himself permission to be all like conservative when it comes to the legal stuff in Trump. And now he says that's a big deal, that he's not decided. I love it. Anyway, as much as I hate what Donald Trump has gone through legally, there is the upside. Okay, there is the upside. Support for Trump skyrockets in poll following the conviction. And this is also from Truth Social. Sarah Arnold. If the Democrat Party thought convicting former President Trump was going to make his millions of supporters abandon him, they better think twice. In fact, he got a 6-point jump in approval after being found guilty of 34 counts for falsifying business records. According to a poll conducted by the Daily Mail and JL Partners, 22% of voters now view Trump more favorably, while only 16% view him more negatively. I love it. I love it. And it's blowing up in their face, but they're getting more and more desperate. You know, they are resorting. And can we get the whole thing? Because I told you earlier, a good friend of mine, smart, one of the smartest guys I know, not just smart because he's super highly educated, which he is. He's got street smarts. He's a with it kind of guy. He also went to Yale Law School, Columbia, Stanford, Oxford, all this stuff. But he also knows how the real world works. But he has been avoiding the news, and that's fine. I don't blame him. And he doesn't really, he glances at the Wall Street Journal at the most. He actually believes and thought, because the fake news told him, and even if you don't listen to the news, you're going to hear it, that Donald Trump said that there were good people on both sides when he came to Charlottesville, and that he must have been talking about neo-Nazis and skinheads and racists, okay? When he wasn't doing that. He expressly said that the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists needed to be condemned. They're doing that again. It's coming back. And the January 6th stuff is not going away. The more they talk about January 6th, I hope it's like the verdict. Because I know how criminal they behaved. They were criminal in what they did. Criminal. And that goes right up to Mike Pence. That goes right up to General Milley. That goes right up to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. All of them. Might even include not Kevin McCarthy. The big tell is nobody called Donald Trump on January 6th. If it were that big a deal, you would call the president. And to this day, they complain, President Trump didn't call us. President Trump didn't call us. Well, you're supposed to call. You're supposed to call the president of the United States. All right? Especially if you work for him. All right? So that's unforgivable. Unforgivable. And there will be retribution. Appropriate and legal. But yeah, retribution. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
This is Greg Kelly for Priority Gold. What does it mean to be America's precious metals dealer? It means that you're in touch with the hearts and minds of those who love this country, value our freedom, and want to protect the future. Priority Gold is that precious metals dealer. They've helped thousands of Americans back their retirement with solid gold and silver. Call Priority Gold at 888-506-6439. Receive free shipping, free storage, a free investment guide, and one of the best purchase experiences in the industry. Call now or go to PriorityGold.com.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. Get ready to zoom into some serious cash with Zoom Ball every Wednesday in June. Win up to $500,000. 1 point equals 1 entry. 2 lucky winners will be drawn at the top of every hour from 1 to 5 p.m. to play Zoom Ball. Discover the excitement at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 877-8-HOPE or text NY.
It's Joe Piscopo. When you're looking for concrete materials for your next construction project, call Diamondback Ready Mix on Staten Island. This family-owned and operated business is the go-to supplier for concrete materials in New York, New Jersey, and the surrounding tri-state areas. My friends and experts from Diamondback Ready Mix are experts and fully licensed and insured in New York and in New Jersey to deliver ready-mix concrete to your job site. Give them a call today for more information at 718-650-5649, 718-650-5649.
This is the Greg Kelly Show.
The people are smartening up. Joe Biden pledged all of that stuff for broadband, right? All the internet broadband and charging stations. They built 6. They promised about 10,000. Billions and billions and billions of dollars wasted. Hey, to that guy who called from Queens about nobody's doing anything about it. You know, one of the guys who's doing something about it, and it's amazing. It's amazing that he's on our side. Elon Musk happens to be the richest guy in the world. Therefore, one of the most powerful people in the world. All right. Is this a new term about, you heard of Bidenomics, right? Ooh, gosh. I knew it was a mistake, Bidenomics. It was just bad. Reaganomics, you know, when they came up with Reaganomics for Ronald Reagan, that wasn't actually, it was seen as a negative. Whenever they talked about Reaganomics, it was like a high deficit thing. So Trump is in Wisconsin yesterday, President Trump, and there's a new term out there. Do we like it? I think we do. Go ahead, please.
Day one of my new administration, we will throw out Bidenomics and replace it with Maganomics. Maganomics. And it was just announced, you probably heard it, just came as I'm walking up, I say, let me say that. I'm walking up here. It was just announced that the budget deficit is now expected to be almost $2 trillion in 2024. Think of it, $2 trillion. Let's see, 2024, that might not be so good because I take over. They're going to say I have a $2 trillion deficit. I say I didn't do anything. But we'll get it down. $400 billion more than estimated just a few months ago because he's throwing money out the window on the Green News scam and other things.
The Green News scam. 3 years after the bill was signed, residents in rural America are eager to access high-speed internet under a $42.5 billion federal modernization program. But not a single home or business has been connected to a new broadband network. You know, if you want internet, there's a way to get it. All right. I mean, there's, you know, it's kind of like they've over intellectualized it and they've made it. It's like people. It's a little bit like Kathy Hochul. Remember when she said black people don't know how to use computers? Right. Remember? She said that. She said people poor. They don't understand computers. It's just this is what they think. This is how they look down on people. You know what word you don't hear as much as you used to, and it's very, very applicable to a lot of society? Pompous. Pompous. A guy earlier talked about Alec Trebek being pompous, you know, just thinking he's better than other people. Barbara, hello. We got a daily quote from Barbara.
Hi, Greg. Yes, when I heard you at the beginning of the show and later on talking about your friend who doesn't really listen to politics but is super, super smart and well-educated. I have a couple of friends like that. And it is so frustrating. Elie Wiesel said, with or without you, decisions are being made every day that will affect your children and your grandchildren, with or without you. And then Plato said, one of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is to be governed by your inferiors. And so who do my friends and your friends think is making these decisions that are going to affect a country that their children and grandchildren will grow up in? Who do our friends think? As my husband once said, when one of our friends went off on a rant about he didn't want to hear anything about the military. It was just upsetting, unnecessary. And afterwards, my husband said to me, who does he think is going to carry a gun for him when this country is under attack? So, but Thomas Paine gives us the closing statement for this. He said, to argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead.
To argue with a person who has renounced reason is like giving medicine to the dead. We know how.
Yes.
Oh boy, we had some total brainiacs out there. And we got a few today too. We got a few today. We got plenty today, actually, plenty. And we got the tools and the means to hear them on social media and elsewhere. Hey, Charlie Kirk is one of them. I'm going to be talking to him in a bit. Barbara, that is delightful as always. We thank you. Who do I have to look up now? I got to look up Plato. I got to look up Thomas Paine and Elie Wiesel. Yep, they were not wrong, and you're never wrong, Barbara. Thank you.
You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
really a very unique character when you think about it, when it comes to broadcasting. I did something, I like to go out and hit the streets and talk to people with the microphone sometimes and to find out what they're thinking and what I'm thinking and talk about it. Now, reporters do this, of course, but what do? They often do it to make them look silly, to make people look silly. I know all this stuff and you don't know anything, right? Now, number one, that's not true. Anchorheads are particularly vacant in the knowledge area, okay? So this whole thing, I saw it a billion times actually about a year ago. I didn't like it. And they basically, Jay Leno used to do it. Who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue? He'd go out on the street and nobody knew the answer. Ha, 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 aren't they silly? Well, no. And people aren't silly if they don't know what the hell Juneteenth is. And I'm one of them. So here I am talking to some people, and I don't have a chip on my shoulder about it. I don't know. Do they know? Not really. I'm vaguely at best. Do we have an idea? And that's okay. It's not part of our culture. Cut 16, please. Cut 16.
What is Juneteenth?
What is Juneteenth? You know what Juneteenth is.
I don't know.
No idea?
No idea.
Is that is a celebration of, I don't want this to be wrong, so I don't want it to be on the news.
It's the celebration of, now don't ask me what state, where they took the state and they actually messed up the homes of all the blacks that lived there. They ruined it, and then now it's celebrated as Juneteenth.
I think basically it's a time for like little kids come together or something like that.
It's a long story. I know really what happened, but it was a Wall Street for the blacks. I think so.
For some reason, it's recognized as a holiday that there was a gap between when the people knew they were freed in, I believe, Texas, and they didn't learn until June 19th. So there was a period of time they're actually freed and didn't know it.
I think you might be right, but I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All right.
But to me, it's a bizarre holiday because it's basically celebrating not knowing you're free.
The delay. I think he's right, but I don't know. I don't particularly care, to be honest. I'm sorry. A lot of things happen in history that I'm just not that upset about. I can't be worried about them. I don't know. And to make it a national holiday, we have to be indoctrinated in it. There's actually a good thing about indoctrination, right? It is so basic. It is so common. It is in our core. It's in our DNA almost. I remember in first grade learning about Martin Luther King. All right. I totally understood. And when it rolled around and give him a holiday, okay, yeah, I get it. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last. I want my children to be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. We learned about that in kindergarten. And if you want to recognize that's beautiful statements today, radical statements. Radical. Even more precious today. So we understood that. We don't understand Juneteenth. And don't let the fake news, those virtue signaling idiots, they don't know what Juneteenth is. Andrea Mitchell wished everybody today a happy Juneteenth. What is it, Andrea? She doesn't know. She does not know. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't rise to that level. Not near. If it were so damned important, we would have been learning about it in the first grade. All right? To pretend that all this stuff happened yesterday. Why? Because they want to exploit it. They're exploiting race. All right? Democrats, the cheapest, ugliest trick in the book. But even with all their little stunts, with all their little games, Donald Trump is winning with black voters like never before. And they are running from Joe Biden and the Democrats. And it's an amazing thing to behold. All right. Some people were giving me a hard time for giving the Boeing CEO a hard time in a way. I thought that Boeing CEO was taking it a bit too, falling on his sword a bit too readily. All right. Boeing is a great company. They've been around for 70 years. I talked about this. 747, 737, 727, 707. What else do they make? A lot of planes. Yet now that suddenly it's the most dangerous airplane in the world? No, that's not true. It's safer than ever before. But you wouldn't know that from yesterday. Cut 17.
Senator Blumenthal, we are responsible. We are responsible. The Department of Justice and the Boeing team and all the investigations and all the judgments that were ultimately taken, I'm not here to second guess them. More than happy to get back to you on that. I apologize. I would like to speak directly to those who lost loved ones on Lion Air Flight 610 and the Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302. I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates spread throughout the nation, past and present, for your losses.
Well, the thing is, the Boeing associates didn't make a mistake with that MCAS system. All right? It's lost in all of this. I guess you can't talk about it because it's political. These are third world countries. All right? Sorry. One of the countries is Ethiopia. And Ethiopian Airlines, which I haven't flown on. No, I'm not going over there anytime soon. I was in Eritrea, which is like right next door once. I've been to Africa. And air travel there, I'm not going to say it's notorious, but it is of lesser quality than American air travel. It just is. The pilots don't get the same kind of training. The airlines, they're just, and Lion Air is from Indonesia. And that airline had no business carrying passengers, no business doing that. And Boeing is a great company. But this is the kind of stuff you got to do to get through a Capitol hearing. I hope I'm never subpoenaed because I'm not going to play that game. I will not. I will speak the truth, and I'm not going to, I don't know why. You ever go into one of those hearing rooms that's elevated for some reason? So Senator Blumenthal, Denang Dick, can look down at you. They literally looking down at, and these guys, get over yourselves. Most of them have never done much of anything, right? I like some of these guys, but they were really stuck on themselves. Here's the senators busting on the boss of Boeing. Cut 18.
The details have been provided to you. Are you able to make sense of this?
No, sir.
Complete gobbledygook.
Yes, sir.
This is what Boeing has provided to this committee. Can you justify these productions?
I will. I would describe it precisely as you did, and I can't justify.
You're getting paid a heck of a lot of money. It's unbelievable. If anybody's coming out of this deal good, it's you. Why haven't you resigned?
Senator, I'm sticking this through. I'm proud of having taken the job. I'm proud of our
this
safety record, and I am
You're proud of this safety
proud
record
of our Boeing people.
You're proud of this safety record.
I am proud of every action we have taken.
Every action you've taken?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Behind you, the folks are showing pictures of the people who are the victims of your safety record. I think we can all see them. And I think the American public, when they fear to get on their airplanes, they understand your safety record. And frankly, sir, I think it's a travesty that you're still in your job.
Who's genuinely afraid to get on an airplane these days? Who's genuinely afraid of what's going to happen on a Boeing jet? You shouldn't be. Now, I know there was that one thing with the window, and that was weird. It was pretty weird. Cut 19.
An Alaska Airlines door panel broke off mid-flight.
That terrifying Alaska Airlines incident on Friday evening when a chunk of the plane blew off mid-flight, leaving a refrigerator-sized hole in the side of the plane.
63-pound door plug that flew off an Alaska Airlines plane at 16,000 feet. The rupture sucking out headrests, seat cushions, even passengers' cell phones.
Well, number one, you're going to Alaska, so that's kind of iffy right off the bat. It's cold as hell up there. Look, did anybody see those videos I put out? There was a 747 that lost half of its fuselage and kept flying. See, the other part of this is the Boeing plane made it to land. Yeah, headrests and cell phones were sucked out. All right. That's better than the plane crashing, isn't it? 737 lost its roof in 1988 over Hawaii. The entire roof just came off. Pilots were able to bring it in for a landing. Look, politicians feel high and mighty when they do that, yelling and screaming and trying to get on the evening news, and most of them, they know how to do it. You know who's not getting that kind of pressure? Airbus. Airbus, the great big European consortium. They don't bring their bosses up like that and yell at them and scream at them on television. And Airbus, for a whole lot of reasons, is basically running circles around Boeing these days. Boeing is, and you saw it right there. And I think they're just taking it a little bit too much on the chin, right? Anthony, what is it? Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Greg? Pleasure to talk to you. As far as those hearings go, you really get sick of looking at those hearings when the Republicans are grilling a lot of these Democrats, and they stonewall and they lie and they're all rehearsed, and all these hearings nothing seems to comfort them. They're committing perjury left and right, and nothing ever seems to happen. It's very frustrating. But besides that, I wanted to talk to you about who do you really think is the deep state in Washington, who's pulling the strings, and who's really doing all this stuff to compromise and destroy the country? I wanted your opinion on that.
Barack Obama.
I thought that too, because he stayed there.
He stayed there. He's running the damn place. Susan Rice. They are the most important and powerful people in the world right now. I have no doubt whatsoever. None. Now, that is obviously we know who they are. There are a lot of people, we don't know who they are. And it's, when we say organized, how is the deep state organized? It kind of moves in a direction. It doesn't need, they don't actually sit down at the table, and often they're circumspect. They are not direct. They don't have to be. An eyebrow. I don't think we're ever going to find an email that says, hey, let's open the doors and everybody comes into the Capitol on January 6th. And if we do that, it'll make Trump look really bad and we can ruin MAGA forever. But I totally believe that Nancy Pelosi, with her eyebrow, was able to send all of the words that I just said, sent that message. So you won't see it done explicitly. So that's who I think is running the show. You have a thought, Anthony?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think absolutely. That's why he stayed there. And, they were banking on Trump not being in, so they would be way more advanced in their destruction than they are now.
It's an interesting way to think about it, because Trump has actually been providing a service just by running for president in a way has kept them somewhat, not really, but a little bit in check. Thank you, Anthony. It's interesting, actually. They really thought he would be a non-factor at this point. Hey, I get it. Justin Timberlake had too much to drink the other night and got busted. CNN, again, the mugshot, the video of that car going down Main Street in Sag Harbor. So what? And if you want to talk about the deeper issues, why is a guy like that, pop superstar, 3 kids, beautiful wife, performs on stage, why the hell is he drinking? Well, one of the reasons, actually, is, guess what? They get bored with the performance. They get bored. That dumb, I got sunshine in my pocket. That stupid formulaic song. The only worse thing than singing it, or hearing it, is singing it, I would say. Right? Terrible song. Formulaic, has nothing, no message whatsoever. Can't stop the feeling. What? Can't stop the feeling? Who came up with that one? When Stevie Wonder came up with that in 1966, it was interesting and cutting edge. For Justin Timberlake, so they get bored with this stuff. They get bored with the ritual of it all. And they want to spice it up. And in a weird way, they want to make it harder for themselves. If they make it harder, it's actually more challenging. And do I want to take this guy who says I'm wrong about Ethiopia? He just got on the line. Well, what the hell makes me wrong about Ethiopia, Stu? You're on the air. Come on, back up your mean little comment here. Hello. All right, Stu. You gave us a little blurb here. I am right about the Ethiopian situation with the airline. Sorry, but these airlines, they're just not first world airlines. You could take it. You could not take it. I wish that Boeing guy spoke. He was all worried about being, politically correct. He just wanted to get out of that thing. He wanted to get out of it. It went viral anyway. You know what? Just say it. Just say it. The truth will really set you free. And there are a lot of Boeing workers who, are suddenly embarrassed to be working at Boeing because the guy at the top didn't defend the company. You know, it's funny because he's got his, right? Another guy, he's got all the money he needs. These other guys, they need to work for a few more years at least. So you will sell them out. I think you sold them out yesterday, Calhoun. Be right back.
Greg Kelly. This is the Greg Kelly Show.
Hey, you ever see Stonehenge? You know those rocks over there in England that are arrayed in a very peculiar manner that may have been set up by aliens a billion years ago, or I don't know, maybe some college kids more recently. I have no idea how those things came about, but they're very beautiful, very stark, and it really makes you wonder. A couple of environmentalist maniacs just went up to it with a great big giant can of spray paint and put it all over. I don't know how that makes us more mindful or more sympathetic to their cause. Makes me just want to, buy a Cadillac gas guzzler and, hit the gas. I have no patience for these jerks. And they take into ruining artwork, right? Art. I mean, what is Monet? What is the Mona Lisa? Who made the Mona Lisa? Michelangelo, right? I mean, why? Or Da Vinci, one of those guys. I mean, why, what is the tie-in? I understand if you got a beef with Paul Ryan, all right, you want to mess with his portrait, I'm not going to say anything. But the rest of this stuff is counterproductive at best and very, very, just, yeah. Ooh. And, well, all right. Willie Mays, that's the big news, I guess, of today. That's, that's sad, but good life. 93 years old. You heard my dad earlier talk about his memories, and it was his favorite baseball player. My dad did not grow up too far from the Polo Grounds. I guess Willie followed the Giants from New York to San Francisco, Candlestick Park, which I think is now called Primerica One or something like that. Did they change? I think they changed the name to some stupid bank. It's another thing I can't stand. The Astrodome, right? The Astrodome, it's Tropicana Field. What? For the juice? Yes, for the juice. The Orange Juice Company sponsored the baseball stadium. Yeah. Gillette Razor Stadium? Yep, same thing. It's not right. The other thing that's not right is, what's his name? Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old girl. Bill Belichick looks to be about 70 years old. Hey, I'm all for, pushing boundaries and stuff like that. In certain ways, but that's not right. All right. And I think he has a daughter who's like in her 30s, right? Bill Belichick. It's, that's not right. That's just a little bit, it puts everybody in a very awkward position. All right. And you just got to ask yourself, if the guy wasn't the head coach of the Patriots, is it, would she be hanging around? Right? Probably not. There are some girls out there who are into that, but I have a feeling it's not her. All right, I got to get the hell out of here. Greg, yes?
Yeah. Hey, Greg, how are you? Real quick, we do everything right, as usual, because we're conservatives, Republicans. But how are we going to stop the Democrats from cheating and stealing this election? They'll stuff ballots. They have illegals. How do we stop it?
Look, I like the phrase "too big to rig." All right, you got to get that and make it so they can't cheat. They can't cheat their way out of it. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried. I'm very worried, and I don't have an easy answer. Lara Trump says she's all over it. Ballot security is a big priority. I hope so. We want this to be fair. We think if it's fair, we win. I hope. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. Who's this? Phil in Staten Island? Yeah, hi.
Hey, Greg, how you doing, man? Big fan. I wanted to talk about the Boeing thing. I work with ex-airplane mechanics, and this doesn't pertain to the newer models naturally because, they don't know anything about that. They're older gentlemen. They're ex-mechanics, so they were left years ago. Their take on the situation is this is a maintenance issue. Let's say you buy a Mercedes from the factory, and every dealership does things differently or has different set of standards or don't do things properly. It's not so much about the company. It's more about who's doing the maintenance and who is hired to doing the maintenance these days.
Well, the thing with the 737, the crashes, it wasn't a maintenance issue. It was a systems issue. And could the pilots handle the systems? And it doesn't look like they could. It doesn't look like they could. But you say maintenance. Not in that. Yeah, it could be maintenance. My God. You know, you look at that. It's so intricate and complicated. And there are people who know how to do that stuff. They're amazing. The people who really run this country, you know, mechanics, plumbers, engineers, those who can do things, create things, unlike politicians.